What's up, everybody, and welcome back to our show. As you know, I am your girl, Kubri Love, and today we have our special guest with us, Louise Serrier. Alright, a little bit about Louise is that she's not new to the world of poetry, but she's relatively new to the world of spoken word. And joining us today on the show is her taking a little extra step, you know, coming out of her what she calls comfort zone. And she's gonna tell us a little bit more about herself and how did she get here today, you know? Yeah. So let's start off. How are you doing today?
I am doing great. I'm happy to be here and I love the work that you're doing. Thanks for doing that, first of all.
Alright, thank you for joining us. Thank you for coming. Alright?
Yeah.
And I just wanna ask, so since you've done poetry, how long have you been in it?
Well, I first started writing 20 years ago, thereabouts, as a teenager, and it was my way of just exploring my feelings about various things, and the poetry would just come to me. So I would feel and then I would write, okay. And eventually I was courageous enough to share it with one of my literature teachers, and the teacher told me, okay, well, write it into a short compilation, a book or something, and teacher wrote a forward to it and everything, and I submitted it to Poetry and Arts Awards competition that was going on at the time. I think they call it the M&C Fine Arts back then, but it's something I just wanted to do because I enjoy it. I enjoy writing, and I always feel better after I've put it down on paper.
Okay, so what is that transition for you like, from writing into performing? How do you feel when you come up on the stage?
I had actually once, back in that day, 20 years ago, I had actually once performed one of my poems, and I had gotten I actually won something after performing, yes. Okay,
so this is your thing. This is your thing that just for you.
I enjoyed it, you know, because I had some experience doing, little plays on stage or just getting on stage. So throughout my life, I have been going on stage, but I have not been. For me, sharing your poetry it takes a lot more courage, because I believe an artist bears their soul. When they put it on paper, they put something that's deep inside on paper, and they say, here is my art. And the motivation for sharing it is always that you want to give expression to other people who might be feeling what you're feeling. You want to maybe entertain them as well. You want to connect with persons. There's a joy.
To relate to.
Yes, you give and you receive. There's a joy that comes from that. But I went to a Dawat show. I'm so happy and thankful for what Kishman, Neil, and Lizzie are doing, creating Dawat and having the shows at the place in Wen. I'm forgetting the name right now.
G-Spot.
G-Spot Band.
Yeah.
So I went to one of the first shows there, and while I was there, they opened the mic at some point. I was enjoying the poetry. I was sitting back enjoying it, and they opened the microphone and they said, go up and say,
this is your chance.
No. My husband was with me, and he said, you should go up and say one of your poems. I said, I don't have them with me. Okay, I have one on my phone. So I was like, you should go up, and then Kishma was like, she writes? Go on and say something.
So they said that so loudly, everybody heard him.
Yes.
So they pulled you out of the crowd.
So she encouraged me to go up and say my poem. So I said no, and I sat down. But something inside of me was like, you want to go up. You want to go up, so go on. So after about 2 more persons went up, I went up.
Okay.
And I shared a work that I had from way back. I shared it with them, and they enjoyed it, and I feel like it's reawakened that little poet in me that was like, hey, sleeping, and he was like, hey, you're still doing that? Okay, well, let's write some more. And from that evening, I just started. I think I was really inspired by the whole session.
It was that definite spark you needed.
Yes, to go back to write.
And I think I've actually seen you perform a total of 3 times.
Yeah.
I don't know if the most recent one was at the Jazz, the Jazz in the Yard, and I think I saw you perform at one of the Dawat things. I don't think that was the same moment. That was not the same.
And then at the launch of Kishma's book, she was nice enough to invite some of us.
Yes.
So that was the 3. Yes.
And I think you definitely find your voice, because each time that I hear you perform, it's like you either become louder or more expressive, like you use more of your hands. So
yes, I think I have grown, because that was not my thing. I was happy to just write and share my poems with whoever's nearby. So getting on the stage, I realized that if I am going to deliver it, then let me deliver it in a way that persons there would enjoy digesting it.
I think writing and speaking is very, it's like you give a voice to your thoughts.
Yeah.
Because how do you say this? Persons can read your poems and like they would internalize it how it would be think necessary.
Yeah.
But then when you add that voice to it, you pause when necessary.
Yeah.
You how do you say this? You give that tone, that facial expression, hand movement. So I think it makes persons appreciate your humor. So I'm very happy that you joined in, you know, that spoken word forum, that letting people know a little bit more about you.
And I'll tell you something, maybe there was a point in my life where I saw spoken word artists and I was like, I love this, I admire them. But I would never be able to do that. That's what I said.
Until now.
I'm doing it. I'm actually doing it and I'm enjoying doing it. I think I've just grown as a person, because at the point where I was saying, I love this, I enjoy this, I would never be able to do that. I think you get caught up sometimes in worrying about what persons would think, and you create fear in yourself. But the persons that you're worrying about what they would think, they're not thinking about you.
Yeah,
Newsflash.
And
it doesn't matter. And sharing your art, you have to understand the importance of it and the positive impact and the inspiration you would give through that. It has so much more value than any little fear that you would have, you know, in yourself. So that is, so I kept going back to the art and performing, and I'm really thankful for the kind of supportive environment that is there among artists. I see it in Monrepo. I see it, you know, when we went to outside of Monrepo for a show. I went to Head Funk. So I get invited by Louise, Kishma, and Neil to go to different events, and it has really helped me to continue sharing my work and growing.
So all of those things just add up to inspire you to keep it.
Yes,
keep it
and
going.
then they called me and they were like, you know, come here I am today.
Yeah, I like that. So that is the main thing. The starting.
Yes, the starting, yeah. And building the courage and ending up here not knowing how you got there, but when you think back, you realize you grow as a person, you build courage, and you realize it's important not just to create art, but to share that art.
Definitely.
You know, why create it and hide it underneath your pillow? Share your art. Whoever's out there, share your art.
I like that. I like that. What type of poetry do you focus on? What do you write about? What do you like writing about?
I write about whatever moves me deeply, and so I've written about issues with black hair. I've written about growth as a human being, childhood, growing as a human in terms of coming out of whatever trauma or challenges you had as a child and emerging out of it. I've written about families. I've written about culture, women.
So you don't
whatever I
have any
feel. So
limit.
I could probably look at my poems and it will tell you what I felt, either angry or very happy or very angry or very very moved or very emotional about, based on it. So it doesn't follow one particular theme, but themes regarding our consciousness and
your personal experiences.
My personal experiences growing up, and my observations, and so our history, things I'm passionate about.
Oh, nice.
You see a lot of that in my work.
So you speak about writing about culture and history. Can you tell me more about that?
Yes, well,
So you focus more on like dates and locations, or what do you mean with the history?
Okay, well, for me, it's about how the legacy of colonialism affects things that occur today. So So I might write about breaking chains that still bind us today. So if I'm writing about our love for self or our love for hair or the way we treat our kids, I might connect it to the history of, we go back to the 1700s where black women were not allowed to keep their hair uncovered. They had to keep it covered by law. That was written into the law. Or just try to connect things to our history, because we are not separate from what happened back then. We're not separate from the fact that we're colonial, that we were a colonial country, because we just hand things down. We hand down behaviors. We might find ourselves hating certain things about our blackness and not understanding that it's connected to how we were treated by a generation before us, or something that was said or something that was done, and it's all connected to that history. So I have a background in history, historical research, so it just comes up when I'm writing. I feel things, I think things, and it comes up.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. So most times you hear people write about a long breakup and how this happened to them or how they feel. I find I don't hear as many persons writing about history. I find that's a twist to it.
It's something I'm very passionate about. I think that is why it comes out in that way. It's whatever is weighing heavy on me at the time, because when I look around, the issues that are happening in society, or a lot of the things that we go through on a personal level, it's tied to our historical experience as a people. Yeah. So that is why I would be writing about things on a personal level, but it always goes back. It ties back. Sometimes I remember I saw some research where they were speaking towards the legacy of enslavement, where down to how we treat our children. We had to treat them, well, the enslaved had to treat their offspring in a certain way to ensure that they survived the plantation. Keep your head bowed, don't see yourself, don't create too much self-confidence in that child if you want them to survive the plantation. And you might find people still doing that to their kids, where they break them down, they criticize them heavily, and they point out only the negative in that child, and they don't understand that this is a legacy of slavery, and there's no need to continue that. We're at a point in history where you have to rise up, give them point out every good in them and rise them up in that way. And so quite often I see things and I want to write about things, my own experiences or experiences I see around me. But it just automatically goes back to the history.
Well, this is definitely something that I want to hear more of. I'm sure other people want to hear more of it, because this is something that's very transformative, because then you write for more than one generation.
Yeah.
So that is transformative, if you ask me, because then we create so many spaces for persons to share how they feel experiences, and the majority of the time you hear them talking about stuff talk about trauma, things that traumatized them and how they had to become their own person, break away from what they're taught, because our parents are essentially, they're doing the best that they can.
They are.
From what they know.
Yes.
Right? It's not that they're necessarily doing something wrong, but something that was still, like you said, from slavery. We, in the future generation, have to deal with, okay, I need to let go of all of this.
Yes, not all, but some things.
Let go of
understanding the history, understanding the context, it helps you look at persons not with judgment but with compassion. Because we're not in survival mode. We're not fully in survival mode. So we can take a pause and say, okay, does this make sense? You could go back and say, does this make sense? Does this give me the result that I want? Was this the best thing for my mental health? And
have to assess.
So when you're no longer, if you find yourself in a space where you're no longer in survival mode, you can then work on building your consciousness as a person. You have to ask yourself, okay, I don't like to see that girl with the afro, it's inappropriate. But why? Why do you feel that way?
Definitely.
Had you not been socialized into it, would you really feel that badly about that beautiful set of kinks on this young lady's head that's neatly perched there. It's something that's indoctrinated into you for a reason because of our colonial history. So I think poetry helps you to explore things that you don't have time to do. The 9 to 5, you're busy, you don't have time to explore these things. But sitting in that space and some of the spaces that thou art creates, it helps you to sift through these things and explore them and just connect the dots and help you to evaluate even the decisions you make on the day-to-day.
Yeah, so you definitely can't come and leave the same way.
Yes,
you see other person's experiences, you walk through their experiences with them as they, you know, let it out on the stage.
I believe in incorporating the history into the healing. We honor our ancestors in that way because they suffered through certain things, and so we cannot just treat it like, hey, throw it on the side, judgment. But you honor them by understanding their struggles, understanding the history while you heal and while you move forward, you know? And you honor what they went through and what they survived and why they did it, you know?
Alright, so you definitely mentioned that whatever you're feeling at the time, you definitely try your best to let out that emotion onto the paper. So what is your method of writing? Do you do it in 5 minutes, a week, a month? How does it, what's your process?
I would just, it would come to me, and whatever I'm doing, I would stop and I would go write it down. And then maybe 2 days later, I would be doing something else, and something else would come to that same poem. So it's like a process that some of them take a week or two, some of them I just all write everything down in one 5-minute session.
So it's like a method of, so while you're processing whatever you're writing about, until you haven't got until you haven't felt comfortable with the ending, you don't stop, or?
No, I've had poems where I wrote it 2 months ago and something comes to me that I change it around and I add to it because I'm like, oh, this is perfect. But that's how it works. It's a very haphazard process. I sometimes say I have a little poet inside of me that has no respect for the fact that I'm doing something else. And so I'm doing something else and you want me to go and write that poem down now because if I
like a whole other personality.
That's what I'm thinking, like there's a tiny little poet inside of me. But if I don't write it down and it comes to me, I lose it. I've lost poems that I try and say, okay, now I'm done with what I'm doing, I'm done with work, let me go and write it now, and nothing comes. So I try to just write it down as soon as it comes to me. Even if I just quickly jot it down. So do you have like
the book? Is it like random papers that you try and find it after?
I write it on my phone sometimes, or I have a book. Or sometimes, last time I found a poem at the back of a book and I read it and I was like, oh, this is good. When did I write that?
So this is like a lost
sometimes, you know, I got the back of the book, so I wrote it at the back of the book and I was like, how come this is good. But I think I always go back afterwards and then just clean it up, you know, just help it to flow better. Like when I'm performing, I will find, you know, words that just don't flow, and that is where I try not to edit it too much. I don't want it to lose its essence, you know. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry. So what would you say if you did like a impromptu one? Like on the spot kind of freestyle?
I've never tried freestyle other than when I did one in the kitchen with my daughter once. We were just joking around, but it was so funny. She was laughing at me, so I don't think I
don't think she was laughing at you. I think she's laughing at the moment.
The moment, yeah. We enjoyed it. It was good. We were both impromptu, just doing some spoken word. She was like, here's my poem, and I'm like, let me continue it, and you know, and we were doing that back and forth.
So look at you just casually passing down the art to your daughter.
Yes, you know, apparently. Yes, because she's enjoying it, yeah.
Okay, so let's try a little freestyle today.
Ooh, okay, I can try. And you might have to edit it out. Depending on what
if it's good, we're keeping it. I plan on keeping everything.
Okay.
But let's go. I'm gonna just give like a word, and you can go in either direction that you feel comfortable with.
Okay.
Alright? Because like I said, it's art. I don't wanna dictate anything. So let's say something simple. We're gonna start simple, like a rose. Like Just rose.
The wood is rose.
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Are we trying to find the rose of
Yeah. I have nothing, sorry.
Okay, that's
I'm
fine.
not freestyle.
That's fine. We're
I can
still
try,
warming up.
but-
We're still warming up.
Okay.
Maybe a phrase would be better than a word.
Okay.
School days.
School days. School days. They say school days are happy days. Happy days. Yes, there are days of being free, of not thinking of where I'm supposed to be and what I want to do, and not thinking of the dollars that I need to make and the bills that I need to pay and the rent that's due. They say school days are happy days. They're happy days if no one's beating on you and no one's trying to stifle you and stop you from expressing every part of you that comes with the pain that you go through. School days. They say school days are happy days. It depends. It depends on who's standing in the front of the classroom that you go to. It depends. It depends on if your friends truly love you instead of beat down on you. It depends. It depends on if the adults around you understand that you're a little human with all of the things that come with growing and becoming and making mistakes. School days are happy days. That's what they say. How's that? How's that?
So hard. I tried so hard to not interrupt you, but I was like,
How's that? I tried.
I need a minute.
Okay.
What? That literally just flowed right out of you.
Yeah, the little poet was like, oh, it's my turn. Let me do something.
Wait a minute. That, like, you had rhythm, you had repetition, you had.
Yeah. I don't know where that came from.
I would say.
But I enjoyed it.
That was
So
nice.
something new, freestyling. Okay, great. Maybe I'll take it outside of the kitchen floor with my daughter. Maybe I can do it outside.
We're
of that
outside.
space.
We're
Yeah.
outside right now. Let's see. Now you just have me lost words. Since you mentioned about the culture, how about we go along with that? I'm gonna give you a hard one since you're so good at it. You know.
I didn't even know I was good at it, but okay, thank you.
Creole, Creole Day, Creole, anything to do with Creole.
Creole.
Am I pronouncing it?
Yeah, you could say, some people say Creole, like it's the language, yeah. Creole. Yeah.
Creole.
What do I think and feel about Creole? Creole. Yo dis, ça c'est langue maman nous, ça c'est langage nous, mais est-ce nous connaître l'histoire créole là? Est-ce nous connaître chaque monde point coup pour créole ça là? Yo bat nous pour nous pas parler créole là. Yo dit nous il pas bon pour éducation nous créole là. Yo dit c'est langue maman nous, mais est-ce nous ni respect pour maman nous, manière nous qu'a faire les monde parler créole, nous qu'a faire accorder yo pas mais moitié respect créole là c'est langage nous. And nous parler Creole. That's all I got right now. So,
Okay, somebody hire her. Okay. just you know, just come pick her up. She can quit her day job. Like, you know when you sing and people say don't quit your day job, you can quit your day job. Because
that would be nice. That would be nice. One day I came from a Dawat show. I'm like, I was joking. I said, wow, I really enjoyed that. I'm gonna quit my day job. I'm gonna just go say poetry.
and you're saying that you
but
didn't
no,
have
I
this
wouldn't do it.
before. Like, okay, I'm loving this.
Yeah.
And we could do one more. This one I'ma just let you go with anything that you're feeling in the moment.
Okay, so
Right.
you're making me. I thought the first
Oh,
one was a fluke. So now you're making me realize maybe I actually have a little skill.
Okay.
It's not a fluke. Okay, well,
You
let
still
me try.
want? Do you want another one? We can do two more. I can give you another word. Discipline.
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 Ooh, I ain't got nothing on that. I don't have nothing on that. Maybe I have something on it.
Just take your time. Take it.
Discipline. Discipline. I remember as a little girl going to school, there was this strap and they called it discipline. There was a strap at school and they called it discipline, and we all stood in fear and we wondered if discipline was fair. Was discipline fair? I remember when I was a little girl going to school, I was told that if I did wrong, I would be disciplined. But as I got older, I understood discipline was so much more than fear. Discipline was doing what I said I would do. Discipline was understanding that if I wanted to achieve my goals, that I had to get up when I wanted to lie down. I had to move mountains when I wanted to stay down. I had to speak to myself in the mirror and empower myself, because discipline is so much more than the burning on my skin that I thought it was looking at that strap at school called discipline. That's it. Yes. Freestyler now. I'm a freestyler.
So, I am happy that your husband definitely told you to go on the stage and give some life to these words, because I don't think anybody could, the words are amazing, but I don't think anybody could make it have this flow like you just setting that out right now.
Yeah. I'm quite shocked myself actually. I've never freestyled before.
I find it hard to believe, but I'm happy either way. I'm happy to do it. Alright, so for the last freestyle, I'm gonna just let you do whatever you're feeling, whatever is on your chest, however.
Oh.
Just let it out.
Yeah. Let it out. Let it out. I know you have something to say. I know you have something to share. There's art inside of you. There's something that you want to express, be it through writing, painting, preaching, speaking, singing. You have a voice. Your voice is not to be kept inside. Your voice is to let it out. You're supposed to connect with others, share with others, help persons along the journey, help them to conquer the beast that you have. Let it out. Be a strength where others are weak. Be a voice for those who have not yet found their own. Let it out. That's my piece.
I think this was a little bit of advice, you know, for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Whatever form of art that we participate in, just let it out.
Let it out, because you're helping yourself in that. It's a very healing and growing, a thing that helps with healing and growth. And you're helping the persons that receive your work in along their own journey. So it's a very selfless act, but it's an act of love. Share your act.
Definitely. And I am definitely enlightened to just have experienced you. So just to give a little bit extra, would you mind performing one of your written down pieces for us?
Yeah, sure.
1 or 2 or 5.
So hear this. When I was a little girl, Daddy said to me, "Your hair is beautiful, my child." The Creator twisted every strand into tiny coils as a testament of love, and no one can imitate this unique mane. It is yours, it is you. When I was a little girl, the world said to me, "This is hard to comb. This is trouble. This is treacherous. This is a slap in the face of law and order. This is not worthy," not in so many words, but in so many actions. For church, we must burn it into something nicer. A hot comb is the way. We'll burn your ears in the process, but that's a small price to pay. For school, we must hide this treacherous thing. Its very existence is against the rule. This part of you that was the first thing to be born into the world when you crowned between your mother's thighs is not good enough to just be. It is too much. See how it stands like a declaration that peace and order is beneath it. It is to be feared. It is a sign of chaos. It must be slicked and controlled if you are to appear less than what I labeled it before you ever crowned wearing that crown. If you want acceptance and that job and mommy's friends to stop asking rude questions, it must be sizzled into a more acceptable mane, or hidden or covered or cowered in the corner of the room hugging its knees so that everyone could feel better. Yes, that crown that was the first thing to emerge into the world, that part of me as natural as arms and legs. The first time I wore a fro, I left the house clutching Daddy's words tightly like a baby holding on to a trusted hand as I took my first step
out to shouts of you won't get a job, you won't get a man, you won't fit in, you rebel. Yes, yes, indeed. I will not have a job that discriminates. I will not have a man who cannot love all of my kinks. I will not fit in to a space that cannot fit my fro. I will not do these things. What a wonderful way of filtering out unwanted things. And if this crown, which as I told you before, was the first part of me to come into the world, which Daddy said was beautiful and unique and loved, and stood out strong against the wind and survived the hail and the high waters and the hot combs, if its mere existence is an act of rebellion, then we shall overcome one day.
Alright, so you've heard her hair first, or probably second if you've already been to one of the Dao at Poetry Slams. Louise Serrier, I'm telling you, I'm blown away. I can't wait for another Dao at session to happen. I hope that you guys are going to be there as well. If I can, I will let you guys know what day. So, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Come to the next Dao at show. You're going to love it. Positive vibe, great energy. You're going to leave happy.
Awesome, I love the vibes. Alright, and thank you for watching. Tune in next time. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Click that notification bell to, for the next video. Alright, let her know in the comments which ones that you like the most. I kind of liked all of them, but hey. Alright, thanks again. Bye.
Bye.